Hello and welcome to another DCU Daily. Sorry, a bit of technical difficulties there, but now we are live. So today, of course, we got some big ass news, as you can see from the bottom right here. But I got to throw up my name if you forgot who I am, so I got to throw up the name first. James Gunn dropped the official poster, well, the official teaser poster of Superman 2025, James Gunn Superman not the movie, Superman not Legacy, whatever you would like to call it. So we are mainly going to be talking about that today, just me for now, but Dan will hopefully come in later. We're just, talking about poster stuff, talking about trailer stuff, and talking about a little bit of other projects, but it's mainly going to be Superman related today. First things first, let's get into this beautiful fucking poster right here. Look at this beaut. Look at this goddamn beaut right here. Amazing. Amazing. Or whatever you I know amazing is usually for Spider-Man, but Superman as well, amazing. Um but James Gunn has finally, dropped this little nugget with us today. He dropped the motion poster, which you can kind of see right here, right now, as well as with the music in the background. We don't know if this was just made for the poster or if this is part of the John Murphy score because it has a little bit of Hans Zimmer, but it has a little bit of John Williams, kind of a little bit of both. And, this has been an amazing poster. Corn Sweat looks great. It's obvious references to, um, what came before is, nothing short of excellent. So, yeah, thank you, Tony. What a great start to the week. Okay, today, Junior. All right. Well, sometimes technical difficulties get get in the way. So, that's just how it is. But yeah, this has I literally woke up to this, just everyone was blowing up my phone because they know I do this. Not just Dan, but like all my friends were like, "Dale, look what fucking happened." So let's, kind of go into it a little bit. So we did share, I believe, an image of what looked like the logo. We were not sure if this would have been the actual logo, but it's very simple, very it kind of has the Man of Steel vibe, but a little bit like, bigger, but it has like kind of a bit of a generic font a little bit. I don't mean to shit on it or anything. It's just like that's the vibe it's giving off. But then we also like I love the beautiful colors here. I love how the cape is just infinite. I like how he kind of like right here I know people have been making fun of this because like, oh look, he looks fat. But what I like about this the is the reference to Alex Ross. Like, obviously, this is very much Alex Ross. This is what, like, as much as you don't like as much as we don't like the original cut of Justice League that came out, um, I do love those Alex Ross posters, and this definitely fits the Alex Ross vibe. Now I would bring up the model picture. I forget the model picture, but I'll try to find it. But yeah, this looks amazing. As Tony said, this is a great start to the week. Also, uh, hey Lenny, no, we're not shitting on anything. We are celebrating. Look at this amazing poster right here. This is beautiful. Come on, we're celebrating this. Now, I like the overall vibe. I like the references, and we'll get to that soon enough. We have a lot of like little responses to this and bits and pieces here and there. But what I also like now, I didn't like this initially, but like look up, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a bland tagline. But when I was thinking about it, I'm like, honestly, I like it. Like, and then I started to really like it. And I'm like, now I kind of love it. Like, just like it's so simple. It just like, because it means a lot of things. Obviously, look up. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman vibe. But also, look up can mean like, don't be down, look up, there's hope. And that's who Superman is, hope, the beacon of hope. So I liked it. Like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I've grown, I've grown to really like the tagline. I like the overall vibe. I like the colors and like kind of a bit of the lens flares, and it's just fucking goated. Like it's such an amazing poster. And I like the motion poster as well. Also, yes. So let me introduce you: Michael K, JB, TC24, Lenny, as I already said, Antonio, and Hugo. Um, what a treat to wake up. Yeah, all agreed. All agreed. Hello, Hugo. But yes, thank you, Antonio. Hit the like button. Really helps us out. But yeah, this is an amazing poster. Um, love every aspect of it. But you know, there's been a lot of responses. The first one is from everyone's favorite internet weirdo, Squeezy himself, Squeezy for real. He was like, if you look at this on shrooms, it stays still. And this was the, you know, to the original post. And hey, even Squeezy is a Superman fan. So, like, you know, that's I don't know why that that really made me like Squeezy is funny. He's Indiana. I thought you were in India or whatever the hell that meme was. But yeah, that this is, you know, just like funny little tidbits here and there. But you know, but that's not the only thing we've gotten today. James Gunn has teased the Superman trailer, which is supposed to be coming out on Thursday, the same day as the fourth episode of Creature Commandos. So that's also pretty awesome. Which will feature Weasel as like kind of the character to get like backstory and stuff like that. I have M&M's with me right now. But yeah, this is now we could obviously I don't think there's a teaser for the okay. No, I get what they're saying. But yeah. Now, obviously I can't pause it, but I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on this because was this just for the just for this is just like a little motion video that they whipped up in editing real quick and then like, oh, look up teaser trailer, or do you think this is actually part of the teaser trailer and this is the introduction to Superman's this version of the Fortress of Solitude, which we know exists because they were filming in like Norway or whatever. So I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on that. I can't keep it. I gotta, go back and forth. Yeah, as yeah, I think. Oh yeah. Well, Hugo is saying so. Of course, Lenny has to mention because we all love to make fun of them because they're fun to make fun of. What are the Snyder cultists saying? Well, Hugo, I'm glad you've had better luck with Snyder cultists. All the Snyder cultists I've seen are like, oh, this poster. I've seen two different reactions. Oh, this poster is just a ripoff of the Christopher Reeve one. It looks like shit. This is gonna flop so hard. This is the worst thing ever. They can't come up with anything original. And then on the other side, I've seen, oh, it's just like the teaser poster for Man of Steel. You're just ripping off Snyder. You hack. You're not original. This is going to flop so hard. So I've seen both sides of the cult being up in arms about this shit because, of course, they are. Hello, Miraculous. Nice to see you. But yeah, also action figure world quoting, speaking of Zack Snyder, look up because demons don't come from the hell beneath us, they come from above. Yes. But yeah, it's just so funny. But I'm glad Hugo, because Hugo also said today I've seen so many Snyder fans silently convert after seeing this poster alone. I literally how often starting to happen. Yeah, that's what it always is. That's what it always is, where it's just like they just hate it. That's like literally, oh, people hated on Michael Keaton. Then when the movie came out, they loved it. They hated on Heath Ledger, amazing, loved it. They hated on, Chris Evans as Captain America, loved it. They hated on Robert Pattinson. Loved it. It's like the only time that people were right was when it was Jared Leto's Joker, and even then, he wasn't the worst thing ever. He just did a very different portrayal. It wasn't a great one, but like I could see what they were going for. Still wasn't good, but that we'll give you that one. Okay, Jared Leto sucked. Like, all right, fine, we'll give you that one. But like everything else, you haven't been right. So shut the fuck up. But the film junkie had a group in which he streamed with. I think that's the name, but this was for Cruise Commandos. And seeing this group of cultists finally admit they were going had me howling. Like it's such a huge tide that's going. High action figure world. Yeah, there's some that's not angry. That's willing. Yeah, no. Here's the thing, and I'll showcase you, Antonio. Here's the thing when it comes to hang on. Here's the thing when it comes to Snyder. I always say this. I will always say this. There's some that's not angry, that's willing to give it a chance. If you're looking for the angry ones, then they're good. Then they're going to change their mind. So don't even bother. And then would be my advice. Yeah, that's obviously Snyder cultists and Snyder fans are two different kinds of beasts. Snyder fans are willing to actually have a conversation, willing to give it a chance. They're like, I liked these movies. I mean, that's what Dan is. He loves Man of Steel. This is the best thing ever, but he's still excited for this movie. Those are Snyder fans. Snyder cultists are like the ones that have tunnel vision, where they can only see this one director for what he did, and they're only willing to see this one guy for these 3 movies that he did, and they can only see this, and it's the greatest thing ever, and everything else sucks. Like we didn't get true Superman until Zack Snyder came in, all that shit. So they were extra salty because they knew this was fire. Yeah. So yeah, that's all it is. So I'm curious. I think this was purely invented for the teaser for the teaser. But I like obviously the better looking version is going to appear. This is probably Fortress of Solitude, but a better looking version would probably appear in the movie. And I also like how there's the reference to the original like Superman credits, where you could see like the blue gradient behind the white lettering. Yeah, you could see that right there. Definitely space too. I can't pause it, unfortunately. So, there's all that. So we got teasers, we got a poster, we got a lot of great stuff coming in. Yeah, Hugo, it's definitely a door. It's maybe a hatch. It's most likely to the Fortress Solitude. It's just like it looks kind of shitty here, but I think this was just for the teaser. The better looking one will appear in the movie. So obviously we'll be getting that soon. So thanks, James Gunn. But speaking of trailer, a press event for the Superman trailer is being held today on the WB lot. Now, we don't know if this is coming from everything underscore DCU. They've been right about some things. Again, grain of salt. Private press screening for the first Superman trailer will be held today. So I don't know if we've gotten more on that since it's pretty late. It's 9:30. So obviously we'll see if like they're right about this. Because whenever they release stuff like this, like scoopers and stuff like that, we don't know if it's like actually true or not. So we will be obviously waiting and seeing for the trailer, but obviously we're going to be seeing it in 3 days, and we are definitely going to be talking about it here. We're going to be talking about it in Courage Commandos episode 4. I forget what the name of the episode is. I think Chasing the Squirrels is what it's called. We're going to be talking about both of those on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. We definitely have a schedule, so if you didn't see the schedule, head to the community tab. Dan posted a schedule earlier today, so what the week should look like. I think more Zack Snyder stuff. There's an image of a theater on the WB lot. Welcome. Okay. So yeah, general reactions have been positive. Okay. Um yeah. Um so it looks like yeah, this is true. They held the press screening and they were positives. I mean, it's just a trailer. Who knows if it's just a teaser trailer. It's probably going to be less than a minute if or maybe like a minute. It'll probably be 45 seconds to like a minute and a half at most. So, obviously so it seems like this is true. They held it and the reactions have been positive. It just this was from a couple days ago and from a scooper. So we didn't know, but it's officially true. Thank you guys for that. But yeah, very exciting. Finally getting more and more stuff. And as we saw in the teaser or in the motion poster that featured the music, which may or may not be the actual music. It's probably just for the motion poster if I were to guess. This is what the DC Studios kind of looks like, like a metallic bluish gray kind of thing. So that's definitely cool. So yeah, we have that as well. Nothing major, but it's still kind of cool to showcase and whatnot. Next, here's a little tidbit that we wanted to talk about, and I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts again, because we like to try and you know I will be getting into the score in a second, but the first thing I wanted to talk about now, somebody mentioned this a while back, um, that there was going to be a second suit. I think Lex Ayers fucking said it, and they blowing up the chat. Um, so it looks like they were in the same suit because you kind of see the yellow here, but it looks like and there have been rumors that he's going to be getting a second suit, but it looks like that they're pretty much going to be the same suit, although the first one is more like leather looking and it has like the yellow outline. This definitely looks more. I don't know. I can't tell if this is the more homemade one or this is the more home. This kind of looks like the vibe of it's like a Kryptonian thing, like he made this in and then this is like more like a homemade, like this is the first suit, and then this will be the second suit, or totally backwards. We'll see. But so yeah, so it looks like there's that. I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts, but that's definitely an interesting tidbit to showcase. Um, I mean, JB, you can join. I mean, we've been just talking about the poster. We've been talking. Okay, Lenny, I will get to the fucking score. Jesus Christ. Um, um, you can watch from now. I mean, you could. I mean, we're only like 15 minutes in, so yeah, maybe the suit will be longer. Um, Oh, hi, Watcher. My theory is one he made in the fortress and the other one he made with his mom. Yeah, JB, feel free to stay live. Take a walk on the wild side. So we will get to the score because Lenny won't shut up about it. Fine, we will talk about it. I can't exactly show it to you guys because we'll get demonetized, but okay, fine. Then fucking get a plane and slap me then. Jesus Christ. Yeah, thanks for the shirt. Um yeah, what else is new? Lenny always bullies me. Anyway, but so the score, I think it sounds good. It's just I don't know if it's actually like the real score. Yeah, so we have like a little bit. It kind of has like So it kind of has like the Hans Zimmer vibe of like kind of the more ritualistic kind of chanting. I don't know what else, like a choir a bit. That's very like Hans Zimmer, but you can hear in the towards the end is the John Williams score. Now I don't think humming. Yes, well, choir chanting, humming, and whatever the word is. Um, Yes, so that's, our vibe is that the Fortress store is in the teaser announcement. That's the vibe we're getting. So it seems I don't think this is the actual score that's going to be used. I think this was just for the motion poster. It sounds really good. it sounds a little bit too much like the Hans Zimmer score with maybe the slightest bit of optimism from the John Williams score. I hope it's different. Like I would love heavy woodwinds because since, the John Williams score was heavy on brass, the Hans Zimmer score was heavy on percussion. I think it would be really great if this score was heavy on woodwinds. I feel, and plus, woodwinds flying through the sky kind of gives that vibe. Also, hello. How
Oh,
you?
hi. Hello, I'm here.
Yes. Now there we go. Much better. Uh, but we're talking about the score from the motion poster because Lenny
Dude,
wouldn't
this is
shut up
exactly
about
why
it.
I just
So
jumped on. I was just like, okay. Like I've listened to that thing 100 times today, and I don't know if it's confirmation bias, but I'm like, oh, there's a little bit of Hans Zimmer in there. There's a little bit of John Williams
exactly.
in there.
I was literally just saying it's got like the humming and choir kind of vibe from Hans Zimmer, but you can hear the
Yeah.
John Williams score come in at the very end. Um, I didn't want to play it because I didn't know if we would get like demonetized, so I played like a little bit of it.
I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I was thinking about it myself. I'm like, would we? So we got like lots of people in the chat. I don't know.
I
Have you
know
been
you're
checking them in
joking,
the
Lenny. Just kidding. Um, but yeah, everyone's been kind of going crazy over it. Um, you know, yeah, TC24. I shed a tear. I can't even cap. Um, so thank you for all your comments, guys. We're looking. Well, I'm looking. Um,
No, I mean,
but
I'm gonna see if I can pull up a few things because I had a lot of different links that I had pulled up throughout the day because it's just like the internet's gone wild. It's just amazing
yeah.
how
Well,
well received
I
this
got
has been.
to so I got to this one when we were talking
Hmm.
about when I went back to the teaser when we were talking about how the suit looks different. I already mentioned the
Yeah.
teaser and I already mentioned
Hi,
the
Antonio.
DC Studios logo. So I was trying to go through every one. You gave me a lot of them, so I'm like, let me pick and choose most of them because most of them were repeats. So I was like, all right, let's. I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. Do you think the one on the left, is the first suit, or do you think the one on the right is the first suit? Because I'm thinking the one on the right is the first suit because it's like kind of leathery. Like I feel like that's more homemade, while the other one looks more like quote unquote Kryptonian, and he made it in like the fortress or something.
The suit on the left definitely is a lot more finished. Like if I let me see if I can try to pull this up for myself because I don't know if it's the poster the way it's done because you see a little bit of red sneaking in. I think that's just the poster because that's meant to be all blue, like on the left side of the logo,
Yeah.
like of the suit actually on his chest, of the torso. I also want to say this. Yeah, yeah, like you look at that there. Do you have the photo of the very first time we got to look at the? What about that other official photo? Like, where's that official? That first official photo that we got of
Yeah,
Superman.
hold on. Let me I can bring that up real quick. But yeah, I mean, that one looked very different.
I mean, I know like Lex has been telling us there's gonna be multiple, you know,
Yeah, I know. They didn't shut
here's the
the
thing.
fuck up about it.
These movies have multiple suits. Most of these movies have multiple suits. It's also like when we had that other suit image, it was like charred and it was like battle
Yeah,
damage, right?
that this
So
one,
it
unfortunately.
wasn't.
Oh,
Yeah, like here I put this up just real quick. Because I found like the big image. But let's kind of zoom into this a little bit. You look at that there. I think we sort of I mean, look, it's consistent, right? I mean, I
yeah,
feel like it's consistent with what we're getting in the poster.
yeah.
Um,
Although the symbol looks more separated, you know, like it doesn't look like it's form fitting.
yeah,
So I don't know if that means something.
like I think the biggest thing here is you're seeing the details and you're seeing a clean version of the suit. Like the version of the suit that we were seeing in that other image was more battle scarred. Like this is the way the suit's meant to look before. Like I don't know, like Superman has to fight a big alien and run through a bunch of fireballs and stuff. So definitely, yeah. I mean, you could tell like there's a lot more texture to it. And again, where did you get through that post where they were talking about how okay, so actually can you pull that one back up by the way? The one which the comparison between the two? Because I think it's really it's nice to look at that one because it shows like just how much detail you lose when like somebody goes on the internet and they do like an AI enhancement,
Right.
right? And then also some of these suits will be ones with less detail because when they're filming, like for example, if all they're doing is action and you're just gonna see Superman from a certain distance, you don't need to see all that detail. Like that detail doesn't necessarily need to be there. Some of that detail won't be visible until you're more up close. So it's not so what I'm trying to say is it's not necessarily the case that what we're looking at are two different suits. They might be the same suit. It's just that when what they're filming and how they're filming it, and if it's a suit for action versus a suit for dialogue, like those are two usually for most movies. It's like the suit. I mean, it's rare that you get a. I mean, for example, the Batman. Robert Pattinson talks about his suit makes it so much easier for him to move around in. And when he
Yeah, because
auditioned for
there's
the
like
role, he wore the Batman
multiple
Forever
planes.
suit.
Yeah.
And like the Batman Forever suit, you're like a mannequin. You can't do anything. You can't move your neck. You can barely move your arms and stuff. And with the Batman suit, like he was able to like literally, he had a lot of range of motion with all the key, features like all of his arms, all the limbs he could move around. I think that's really also probably the case here because I can imagine the way the suit is designed, the way it bends and like moves, they probably also have suits that are made of different materials for the
Hmm.
different kinds of shots that they were trying to get. Whether they're in the because for example, think about this: they get them on a pitchfork, where they have an actor in the middle of one of those things, and basically you can spin around and like get flown through the air, and you have
Yeah,
like
we
people
saw
wearing green
that
screen
behind the
body
scenes,
suits,
I
right?
think.
So like we saw the engineer on one of those, right? The pitchforks.
Yeah.
Like imagine if that's like so I'm sure when they shot in Atlanta, when they shot in the studios, they had they were concert Superman on one of those. So for that, like the suit is probably different because what ends up happening is they end up painting out a lot of the suit and repainting it in post production. So half the time like the suit you're seeing because nowadays the technology is so good, quite frankly, James Gunn, if he really wanted to, could have shot the whole movie in Cleveland and Cincinnati with a suit that wasn't exactly the one we're going to get in the movie, and they could have gone in and replaced it and enhanced the details in post production.
I mean, that's what they
Like
did with
yeah,
Zack Snyder's Justice League. He filmed in the blue and
yeah,
red suit, but for Zack Snyder's
exactly,
Justice League, he changed it to black because that's what he always
yeah,
wanted, the black and
yeah.
silver. So yeah, like, and it didn't look noticeable, unlike that fucking chin shit with covering his
Well, no,
mustache. But
because like it's a lot easier to change the color of a
right,
suit
yeah,
than it is to like
color
remove a
grading
mustache.
is. Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to say any of these jobs like a colorist's job isn't like easy, but it's
No, no,
easier
no. Well, no, but
than
I'm saying, but it's also like I think a better analogy would be what they did in Avengers Endgame. Like recently, I was watching it back, and then I just remembered that they shot everything with all the different heroes in their own suits, not the time travel suits. The time
yeah,
travel suits were completely CGI, and it's not even that this is something that's a recent development. Going back all the way to Man of Steel in 2013, when you look back at the behind the scenes footage of General Zod and basically all the other like Farao, like all the other Kryptonians with the battle suits. I mean, the one huge Kryptonian was probably all CGI, but like the ones where we had the faces of the people, the suits they
yeah,
were wearing were entirely CGI. Every part of Zod's suit, minus like the what's essentially the undergarment, which is which is in that world like what Superman's suit is as well, and Zod had his own symbol and stuff, and it was all black. But outside of that, everything else that Zod wore, his entire armor was completely CGI. It was completely CGI, and then they were able to do that
yeah.
for Michael Shannon, like back in 2013. The technology has been around for a long time. It's like, for example, when John Favreau talks about when the first Iron Man movie was being made, and they did like screen tests, and ILM was like, okay, so we're gonna show him a shot of like Tony Stark in like a practical version of the suit because they built
Right.
practical versions, and then they had like the animated ones, which was completely CGI. So like once he's in the suit, it's basically a CGI, double like a model that they've animated, and then once one of the VFX supervisors were like, you know what, we're gonna show him the entirely CGI one, but not tell him. And they showed it to him. He was like, "This looks brilliant." Like, can you imagine doing this with CGI? And they were like, John, I hate to tell you this, but that whole thing was CGI." And John Favreau was like, "Okay." Like, that was the moment then John Favreau was like, "I'm gonna make The Lion King in CGI live action
And
now."
then it sucked.
So I'm just
Well,
saying,
remember,
like,
he made the Jungle Book
it's
first, which was way
he
better,
did,
but
he
that's
did.
beside the
Well,
point.
maybe that's what he thought at the time. It was like, "I'm gonna make the Jungle Book in CGI." Like, it was great. So, like, it just goes to show you that the technology is there. So I can imagine that basically to go back to the Superman question, the suit we're getting in the movie when we get the final product is gonna be a little different from the suit that we saw when they were filming the movie. Like even if
Mhm.
you go back and look at the Man of Steel behind the scenes, like the suit isn't the exact same suit that we see in the movie because it depends on whether you're shooting action, whether you're shooting dialogue, or essentially even there were a lot of sequences where they didn't even have an actual cape for Henry Cavill to wear. They put that in post production, and then there were scenes
Yeah.
where they went in and they basically replaced whatever tracking markers they had, and then there were scenes where they gave him an actual cape, but the cape was heavy, so they didn't want him to feel like he couldn't move around wearing it all the time, so they only gave it to him in scenes where he didn't have a ton of movement to deal with in the first place. But John, I didn't want to, I mean, I know you guys are reacting in the chat, but I'm just like, you look at some of the reactions on the internet, and I want to talk a little bit about how this, because here's the thing, for the longest time people have been comparing like this to the DCEU, and I think that's a false comparison, right? And the reason for that is when you look at Superman and what this movie feels like to the audience, I think the marketing, the build up to this movie is much more similar to the Batman than it is to anything that DCEU did, because this is a fresh start. It's a
Mhm.
new version of the character. There isn't any baggage from previous iterations. And
Mhm.
the way that James Gunn has gone about this is like little bits and pieces of information here and there. And he's doing a version of the character that is going to be, generally like widely accepted and loved, right? But he's not doing an alternative sci-fi alien first contact story like Man of Steel was. He's not doing a Batman that feels so grounded that it's like completely in our world, like the Christopher Nolan Batman, even though that was very well received. But what I'm trying to say is, when you look at just the reactions from the people, it's like this feels like. By the way, the other one was hilarious. It's like if you look at this on shrooms, it stays still. I'm like, I'm sure it does.
That was funny as fuck.
um, but like I've been seeing a lot of reaction where like this is beyond beautiful. I'm crying. I'm screaming and happy. Like literally, when I first saw this, like I did, sort of tear up a little bit because the music is very poignant. It's
Mhm.
got essential colors. I don't know if you have had a chance before I hopped on to talk about how this compares to like the other Superman posters from the years
Not
past,
yet.
the Christopher Reeve
Not
one,
yet, but,
you know.
um
So
but
yeah,
yeah, I was gonna get into that soon enough,
yeah.
and I have it right here. Um, so I really like all I actually used to have a poster of this, but since I don't really like the movie anymore, I gave it to a buddy of mine. But honestly, you could tell like the similarities between the two, and even somebody mentioned like here's a bigger one where you can see like how you have like kind of the abstract kind of
Like the prism, right, right,
vibe.
right. It's that prism
Like
effect.
you have like
There's a version
the
of the poster where you
blurriness.
see all the colors coming through like a prism. Not the
Yeah,
first one, but there was a version of that movie's poster. So yeah, it's
yeah.
like a Superman for all seasons, all-star Superman sort of vibe
Yeah,
almost.
and I
Yeah,
really really like that, and you can see. I know people have made fun of this, mainly Snyder fans, but you can. Oh, my bad. You can kind of see. Sorry, hang on. That like people are making fun. Oh, look, he has a gut. He's fat. Look, like what is this Superman or Fat Man? Meh, meh, meh. But like, I wanted to bring up because this is clearly Alex Ross inspired,
uh-huh.
that the original model for Alex Ross's Superman has the same exact looking pose. Look at this and look at this. Look at
Mhm.
this and it's like the same exact pose. I love that. I love that so much. Like this Frank Casey was the original model for Alex Ross's Superman in the 90s when he was doing Kingdom Come. But I love how it's like this, and then you have like it's just like it's taking advantage, taking like all sorts of inspirations, and I absolutely love that. Um, Even if it because there's another Man of Steel poster where it's like kind of like that abstract kind of thing. And I think you know what I'm talking about, like because a person, one of the fucking dumbasses who reacted to this, were like, "Oh, look, it's mother. Look, they're ripping off fucking Man of Steel. Can they do anything fucking original? Fucking loser. This is gonna flop. You hacked. Blah blah blah." It's like, oh my god, can you just get a life? Get a
I mean,
life.
um, we're gonna get into the synopsis for this later,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to point out somebody went in, and for those of us who were on Bulge Watch, they went in and they were like, in case you're looking for the Bulge, which clearly, if you look at the actual poster, John, in the actual poster, you could see there, the underoos are there, but as far as the Bulge goes, it's as I like to call it, it's been smudged, like I
You
can't
could
really
still
tell.
tell it's there though.
It's kind of there, but it's like it's much more PG. But then I want you to look at this, Sean. I would just point it out, like right there. It's somebody went in and they were nice enough to just sort of just get rid of the underoos entirely. And
You could still tell they're there though.
it's it's kind of, yeah, but like I don't see the bulge. I don't see. It's just smooth, you know. It's just
Like
like it.
you could see the comments like, I literally edited the image. You didn't do a very good job that. We can still see it. Like you could still see it. Like you could see the red. It's like right there. Like you can still fucking see that. Like it's like, yeah, like come on. It's there. You can see it. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, it's there.
No, man. I'm just telling you. Look at this. Like, okay, this is no bulge. Right? This is no bulge, and then this, where is it? This is bulge. This is with the bulge. This is no bulge. Bulge. I'm just saying, it just it looks a little. I mean, they obviously made the belt smaller. You know what? Honestly though,
Release the bulge cut.
yeah, I want to really. Where's the bulge cut, man? Look at this. No bulge. No bulge. Let me go back. Like, there's the bulge. It's kind of, oh, it's bulging, and then no bulge. Like it's just somebody. If you're a fan of Bulgegate, then I'm just happy that we got somebody out there who already did the work, so I didn't have to go into Photoshop like I did last time and try to smudge the bulge, smooth it out. It's good. It's good for those of us
Yeah. Also,
who
you
are
can
very.
see more Alex Ross imagery um, as well. You can kind of see that. You can kind of see that, and I really like that as well. Like it's all
Oh,
sorts of inspiration.
Jose's like, he's definitely coping. Oh my god, if I see his bulge in the movie, 1,000 out of a 10. Is that your rating
Smudge
system?
the bulge, new shirt logo idea.
Smudge the bulge. Yep. Smudge the bulge. You know what that is? That's like a note that James Gunn sent to the editor for the trailer. Smudge the bulge. That was like the fourth bullet point in his notes.
Yeah.
Make it better, smudge the bulge. I mean, look, speaking of the trailer though, John, again, I don't know if you went that far. I think you might have already talked about this, but I wanted to kind of bring up something here, which I came
This
across. Well, that, yes, we're getting, now we know officially we're getting a teaser trailer, and I mean, to me, that looks like that's the entrance to the Fortress of Solitude.
that's what Hugo said. That we were like, yeah, that's pretty much confirmed. That looks like the fortress. Although it doesn't look totally right here. I think this is like made for the teaser of the teaser because it looks like not it looks kind of fake looking.
Hmm.
So I think we're gonna get a better looking one in the trailer. But this is definitely Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think that is Fortress of Solitude. It just looks. It looks interesting. It looks, I don't know, it's different than what we have seen before, and like the whole crystalline structure kind of a
Yeah.
thing from the Christopher Reeve movies. But I want to see like what, because obviously then you've got the much more like alien spaceship effect for the Man of Steel. So this seems like again it's sort of like trying to be quintessential Superman and yet sort of honor some of. I mean, there's a reason why this movie was at one point called Superman Legacy, and now with the score, with all the other elements, you're starting to kind of see more and more what they meant by it. But
Yeah,
one thing
exactly.
I noticed on is I noticed the shirt you're wearing. This is official Superman merch, right? If you show the
Gang,
people
gang.
that logo, so that's the official version of the logo.
Yeah,
And then you look at the poster with the suit now. I mean, I'm gonna put up like this is the one from the film shoot, right? Talking about
yeah.
the screening, the press screening, which we will get into. But then when you look at the actual poster and you look at the suit, I do wonder if they have gone in and made some small changes, like we talked about earlier. I know we're kind of bringing this point up again, but I'm like, there's an if you're looking following the trail, your logo is official DC merchandise, and then that looks a little different from what's on the suit. So it is very possible that they probably ended up changing the suit up a little bit, or like Lex said, we will get two different versions of the suit. Whereas one is a lot, maybe for example, is maybe less of a situation of one he made at home, and the other one was made on Krypton for him. And he finds it in the fortress. It's more likely that it's like he makes the first suit himself, or his mom, or whatever, or his parents. Yeah, no, we were gonna talk about it, Watcher. We are gonna talk about it. Um, but it's more likely that that suit then goes and he goes to some kind of corporation or something. Like maybe this is where like the Terrifics come into play, right? They all have their suits. Maybe they're like, hey, we've got a bit of an upgrade for you. So they basically take what he made and just make it slicker and like more, smooth and clean. And that's the in-universe explanation for why he gets the suit that we see in the poster. I feel like that's a better explanation than, like just, okay, there one suit's from Earth, one's from Krypton. Um, and Lenny's like, more merch to come. Yes, I'm sure we're gonna get more merch, and I'm looking forward to it. But let's talk about the press screening, shall we? So,
Oh, here's
yes,
a better look at the logo on my mug.
exactly.
Like you could again, the yellow is there. So
That looks more like the suit what they were filming with than the suit that they have in the poster, and that leads me to. And then when you look at the suit, the very first suit version of it that we got, I think there's a lot less yellow outside of the S in this one. That looks more.
although to be fair, you can't really see it because of the soot. So
But now I'm just saying, now when you look at this suit and you look at the way it's got all the details and the outlines, and you compare that to, for example, that suit, I'm just wondering, like, maybe there is like maybe like a lot of the stuff they were shooting in Cleveland is from the first act of the movie before he gets an upgraded suit for the latter half of the film. So it's very possible that that's what ends up
yeah,
happening. But anyway, let's get back to the private press screening, right? So the Watcher was talking about it, and yeah, I mean, and you guys have, I'm sure, heard of it. Over the weekend, we were getting rumors about this, that there was going to be a private trailer screening on Monday on the Warner Brothers lot.
yeah, we did
Looks
talk
like,
about this for a little bit. Yeah,
yeah, and then it was very well received. So and now we know that there's a lot of people out there who have seen the trailer, and who they've been hearing good things. Like Watcher, you said yourself, like you've been hearing good things. Figure Drawing says, I hate his suit, the weird lines, the weird folds. Well, again, we haven't seen it in action, Figure. So like, let's see how
I
it
don't
looks in action.
totally love it either because it's reminiscent of the New 52 suit, and I fucking hate the New 52 suit. But for what it is, it's good. Like I like the Kingdom Come logo. I
Yeah.
like the blues, and I like the trunks, and I like the colors and all that. So
I mean, I don't know if we're gonna get super nipples and super credit cards, but we are getting a super bulge, a super bulge. That's what we're getting.
like, let's not
So
objectify people. We can do that.
yeah, I'm just, what? That's the definition of movies, is objectifying people. But anyway, you were saying.
Yeah, I like. Hey, why are you on me? Get me the fuck out of here. All of these posters are great. Like I love, like, honestly, my favorite might be the Superman Returns one. Like I love that one, but like all of them are good, like for different reasons.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's toss up between Superman Returns and Superman. Both of those are the best. I like Superman the movie. Like I love the painting look. Like I like the Drew Struzan, Stephen Shornay kind of look, where it was like the paint, like the Indiana Jones posters, the Back to the Future poster, like Drew Struzan and Stephen Shornay all did like a bunch of those. Dreamscape was another one. A lot of them were really good. I think Evil Dead also kind of had like a painting kind of poster. But all of them are good for their own reasons. But yeah, you could tell like the Superman 2025 poster is similar to the Superman the movie poster, in addition to the Alex Ross and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
I mean, TC is like, that poster goes crazy. I'm like, you know what? The poster is nice. I really appreciate that they went with a motion poster. It's just like it's like I'll give them like an A+ for just for the sake of going the extra mile, like the extra credit. Because even today we don't really get a ton of motion posters. It's rare. I guess it's their equivalent of when we got that Batman video with the first time we saw Robert Pattinson in the Batman suit with the music and the suit reveal. To me, when you look at because what you're looking at on our screen here is these are the first four posters for all of those movies. The first poster for the first Superman, the movie, Superman Returns, a Brendan Routh film, and then of course you have Henry Cavill's Man of Steel, and then you have the David Cornsweet Superman. And when you look at all four posters, they clearly established a tone for what the movie is going to be like and about. And I will say that what impresses me the most about the new Superman poster. By the way, one thing, when I saw the title for once, I was like, when I first saw this morning, I almost thought this was like about the DC documentary, because the type font is very similar, and I was like, wait, did they forgot to put the slash between super and man? And then I like saw the rest of the poster. I'm like, oh, so like there's that. But what I will say is, as far as first posters go, you want to get a general sense of what the movie is
Yeah.
going to like. And you know what, like between Man of Steel and Superman, they're both their own kinds of epic, right? Superman Returns feels very much like it's a tribute to what came before, which is what was the essence of that movie. It was meant to be a tribute to what came before and honor the legacy and then try to build on it. And of course, Superman the movie was meant to sort of like just inspire, the hope and belief in you in a way that only Superman can. And so this new Superman, whereas Man of Steel was like, all right, we're getting a new, very different take on the character, which was inherently not quintessential Superman, but it's a version of Superman that a lot of people grew to love, like I do. Whereas Superman, the one that we're getting now, that feels like it's a nice blend of all the different elements. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you go to again just the motion poster, it just goes to it just to me, this is slick, it's clean, it's smooth from a design perspective. It kind of almost reminds me of the way they did the marketing and all the colors with like the rainbow motion blur. It's like the anime look, but more so it reminds me of all the marketing for Star Trek Beyond, if you remember that one. Like it was a lot of this kind
Mm-hmm.
of motion motif. And then when you look at again the text and everything, it looks clean, it looks
Mm-hmm.
nice, it's simple and it's modern, it fits.
Usually teaser posters are better than the main
Yeah,
posters. Like Caleb was saying, thank God it's not a fucking floating heads poster. And it's just like, well, this is only the teaser poster. It's not like the official like main poster.
yeah,
So who knows? We'll probably get like a generic poster for that. I hope we don't, but I'm not holding my breath. It's just, and someone actually made like a really good video on this too, where someone was like, yeah, usually like the Dolby or IMAX posters are way better than the actual posters that were used. And they had like a bunch of really good examples, like Rogue One. Rogue One had like the generic, like floating heads posters, but then the Dolby one was just like, just like a helmet on the ground and there was the battle in the background. That was really cool. So like as long as
yeah.
they like stick with stuff like this rather than like generic kind of crap, I think they'll get like I remember seeing the BVS teaser posters were really good, where you had like it was like Batman or Superman and then you would rip away their eyes and like then they would have the other, like one looked like the bat and then one looked like the S. I really liked that as well.
Dude, I like. I mean, and you know what? We're gonna get those. Like, they're gonna go all out. When you're doing a summer of Superman, you're gonna get like a million different variations because each of the special formats of movie theaters, like 4DX, IMAX, Dolby, all of those are gonna get their own different, posters, and then you're gonna get the different regional posters. You're gonna get character posters. You're gonna get the different posters, like with all the different characters and like just Superman by himself. I'm sure we're gonna get a million different ones. You're gonna get all kinds of looks at this movie before it comes out. Now, speaking of which, we did get what I mean. I don't think it's an official. It's like a synopsis because the synopsis wouldn't. It feels more like a marketing pitch than anything else. But this is from the press release with the poster of the movie today, and so I'm going to read this out real quickly. I don't know if you guys have come across this yet, but basically, it kind of gives us an introduction to what this movie is going to be like. So it says James Gunn takes on the original superhero in the newly imagined DC universe with a singular blend of epic action, humor, and heart, delivering a Superman who's driven by compassion and an inherent belief in the goodness of humankind. So again, it describes a lot about the character and the theme and the feel of the movie. It doesn't really tell you a ton about what the movie's about. So to me, this isn't necessarily an official synopsis, but it's a nice introduction. Like like maybe if it is a first thing, come on, no one stays good in this world. God, that movie went hard at times, man. But then
It
at the
was
end,
good. It's just like I don't want to hear that from Superman. Like
get it. But
no
I'm
one
like,
stays good in this world. You don't know the world a thing. Like why are we talking
but
about this? What the fuck are you talking about? Like this is what? Like why? Why are you saying this? This is just depressing. What this isn't.
yeah,
Uh,
I know. But like again,
Superman
get
was never real. Just a fucking dream from a farmer from Kansas. Like
but
fuck off.
okay. Okay, yeah, you know what though? But that's very like that's probably the most realistic like
Okay,
interpretation.
this is about a guy who flies and shoots lasers from his eyes. I don't
I'm
want to
just
see
saying.
fucking
I'm
realistic.
just like look, the movie like okay, it deconstructs the I didn't what superheroes mean in our world today in a way that has never been done before, probably ever will be again, considering how it was received. But I am saying like it may not be the Superman that everybody wants, but it was a version of Superman that certainly asked a lot of questions that were legitimate in many ways. I think right, like it works to me for what it is. It just doesn't necessarily work for the amount of people that Warner Brothers would have liked for it to work for. Hence why we are here today. So yeah, but no, Ron. Like here's the thing. I think you're overestimating this crazy, stupid, weird world we live in. Which is there's so many different wars and all that stuff going on. Like we went through. I don't know what, like a couple of decades where there wasn't anything. Hell, no, we didn't even go through that. We've just it's Do you know the world that we live in, Ron? Superman in this world would be optimistic, yes, but it wouldn't take long before all the politics and the world. Even Marvel like did Civil War, and I think it was again kind of a lot of the same themes of how the world, like in the politics and the countries and all of that, would interpret and essentially treat superheroes essentially as these extra, like outside the law vigilantes, essentially these powerful beings that you cannot control, that they don't respect the boundaries and the laws of the different countries. And to be fair, Man of Steel wasn't the first one to deal with this. Christopher Reeve's Superman, was it Superman 3 or 4, like dealt with the same thing of like
Yeah,
where does Superman
Superman 4, and it fucking sucked. Like,
I'm not saying they did it well. I'm just saying, and no, Superman would never lose hope. But dude, that's the thing. Superman is also at the end of the day, like he isn't like an all powerful god because if you make him completely impenetrable and all powerful, then you can't really tell good dramatic stories. And then I keep saying, yes, he said all those other things. At the end of the movie, he's like, "This is my world," and he sacrifices himself. So I'm like, I think in defense of Zack Snyder and that team, they were trying to set things up so they can pay it off at the end, which they did. But anyway, I think we're getting sidetracked. This
yeah,
movie clearly epic action, humor and heart, delivering a Superman who's driven by compassion and an inherent belief in the goodness of humankind. That to me sounds wonderful. It sounds very much like the Superman that we got in the Justice League animated series, and I feel like a lot of what we're seeing so far, it lines up with that interpretation of Superman. So I'm really looking forward to that, because to me, like, that was one of the best versions of Superman ever seen. Now, speaking of course, the man who's in the suit, David Cornsweet, Frank Grillo has been gushing about him for a long time. I think we have
Yeah.
talked about it before, but it's worth bringing up again, considering that today we get the poster, and so it kind of renewed, sense of belief in the movie. And what he recently said was, with David, there's just something very Christopher Reeve about him. He encompasses this aura, the word aura, and there's something about this guy. I don't know if I could articulate it, but I was like, oh, this guy's Superman. Like, and to me, that just is a reflection of how he carries himself and who he is as a person, like outside of just playing the character of Clark Kent. So again, like, what do you think about this? Because this was from Frank Grillo being on the Christian Harloff show on YouTube and talking about essentially, his take on who he sees David Cornsweet as Superman, and just how good can he be in the role. Like, what do you think about his comments here?
Sorry, I was looking at the chat. What did you say? I'm just trying to like make sure I give like people like, because now they're kind of talking about JLU stuff and all that. I'm sorry. What did you say? I'm just I want to give our
Frank
viewers.
comments. What do you think about the Frank Grillo
Oh,
comments?
I think that's nice, but like at the same time, it's like there's so many people that are complaining about, oh, it's just going to be Christopher Reeve again. It's just going to be Christopher Reeve again. Because it's like now you're adding to the ammunition of like Snyder cultists that are like, oh, okay, so it's just going to be Superman the movie again. What's the point? Like, you guys can't get rid of Christopher Reeve. Like, what the fuck? Like, fucking be different. Like Henry Cavill was, and Zack Snyder, who gave us depressing Superman. So it's just like, I mean, I get what they're saying, because like and I think they're saying it not in a like demeaning sort of way or anything like that, but like Christopher Reeve was so fucking inherently iconic that you have to kind of like go back to, for the general audience that like don't read every little fucking piece of shit fucking article and every rumor and every little thing like we do. And it's like, oh, I know Christopher Reeve. Yeah, I liked that. If this guy's like that, I think I'll watch it. But at the same time, what the fuck are you fucking smoking? Are you kidding me right now? Get this off screen. Um, I I just I understand it, but then you also, it's like two sides. For the general audiences, I think that's good. The Reeve examples for them are good, but the thing is, I don't think general audiences are reading what Frank Grillo is saying. All right, okay, some guy is saying he's like Christopher Reeve, like whatever. They're not even reading any of this. They're like going on with their daily lives. The most they see is like, oh, we're getting a Superman movie next year. They're not really seeing this sort of stuff. The only people that are seeing this are the super nerds that like that are analyzing every detail, aka us. So with that, we just see the Christopher Reeve comparisons, and some of us are like, okay, that's cool. Maybe we'll go see the movie. But I feel like most of us are like, oh, okay, they're comparing Christopher Reeve again, or and then you have the the fucking dangerous fucked up fans, Snyder cultists that are like, oh, you fucking can't like get rid of him. You can't move on, which is ironic because they can't move on from Henry Cavill. So there's that as well. Um, so it's just kind of a shame that we're in that that people are in that mindset. But like I get what he's trying to do, but I feel like it'll shoot them in the foot more so than it being like, okay, cool, it'll get more people to see the movie. I feel like it's more of a shooting in the foot kind of situation, because I feel like both sides are going to be like, no. So I get it, but I don't think that's going to help the movie like they think it's going to,
No, I think at the end of the day, there's gonna be people who don't like this, and you won't be able to convince them regardless of what you do. And look, it's art, right? It hits each of us differently, and so be it. Like I'm okay if there's people out there who decide not to go see this movie no matter what. Then that's fine. And I agree with you, Lenny. I think he's talking about how like
Mhm.
David Cornsweet really has that same aura that Christopher Reeve had. And David Cornsweet has that, but also I feel like Henry Cavill had it, like Brendan Routh had it. I don't think we've had a bad Superman. Tyler Hoechlin had it. Dean Cain had it. So yeah, it's just this is the man of the moment. No, but speaking of man of the moment, it turns out it was actually 46 years ago, almost to the day, because it was literally 46 years ago yesterday, that Superman the movie came out, and now we are, of course, getting the first poster for Superman, and so it's just fun. I mean, it's a day late. We were speculating for weeks on end, John, that are we gonna get basically the first trailer for the movie on the 46th anniversary year anniversary of Superman the movie. We're a few days off, but close enough in the same week more or
It's
less.
still the 46th year, and it's still, like, in the same
46th
month.
year.
That's
Which
He's a
also
cool cat. Look at that outfit. Yeah, love that.
but to
Um,
me, that all like I got me thinking, because yes, we got the poster, we're gonna get the trailer, and we're gonna talk about the trailer a little bit more about what our expectations are. I want to know what you guys expect to see from that teaser trailer. 'Cause it is a teaser trailer, so is it gonna be just 30 seconds? Is it gonna be 2 minutes? What is it gonna give us? Like, we're gonna have so much to talk about on Thursday.
I
But
think I did say this before. I think it'll be like 90 seconds, minute and 30 seconds at the most, because it's teaser
that's
trailer. So
yeah, and then we're gonna talk about that in a minute. But before we get to it,
yeah,
this anniversary thing got me thinking. We're by the time the movie comes out, we're gonna be almost 47 years since the
46 and a
first
half, because that's almost pretty much halfway.
almost half, but yeah, but, like, we're gonna be in the 47th year. Do you think, because we now know the Dynamic Deal is coming out in 2028, we're gonna talk about that more, tomorrow, hopefully, because today is just all about Superman. And then Clayface as well. We've got tons to talk about at Clayface, so don't you worry, we've got your details. There's also rumors about, like, what might be going on with Matt Reeves at DC. It's a good thing. I don't wanna I'm not trying to scare you guys, but, like, we're gonna talk about the Batman too as well. But today, like, we're looking at this got me thinking, if you look at the timeline, if Superman is a hit, which for a lot of us is going to be, it's not even a question. But if it does well enough that it warrants a sequel, which I mean, even if it doesn't do terribly well, I imagine they're gonna want to do at least another sequel, because you don't want to just do one singular Superman movie and then stick him in the Justice League. That was the problem that we had in the DCEU. And you
Yeah,
can't be discovered
do
for
one
one.
movie and then the next movie he fucking dies. That would be fucking stupid.
That was too early even for somebody who liked BBS. But anyway, I was thinking 46, 47 years, if they were to do a sequel, which or when they do the sequel, do you think they're gonna try to time it out with the 50th anniversary of Superman, the movie? Does it make sense? Do you feel like it would work out that way? Would they put out a Superman
So
movie in
50 would
December?
be 2028. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pushing it, because look at this. This movie was announced in 2023. Was it
Pretty
2023?
much. Pretty
So it was
much. Yeah.
announced, and it's going to be released in 2025. So that it'll be about a little bit more than 2 years, about 2 years and 5 months, because it was announced in January, right? Of last year, was that? Yeah.
Mhm.
So having it announced, like having it make its money, like, if okay, let's say it's the best like situation possible. Let's have the comparison be like Deadpool and Wolverine, because that's the biggest comic book hit we've gotten recently. So that movie came out in July, so it works. So Deadpool and Wolverine comes out in July. It's a huge hit. Everybody loves it. Most people love it. It's continuing to make money. There's no drop offs, and it's unlike most movies. It's in theaters for about 4 months. I think early November is when it did come out on streaming in October, but
Mhm.
it, I think, officially exited theaters sometime in November. So that's about 3.5, 4 months. So let's say Superman does that. It does well. It's beloved. It's amazing. Everybody loves it. It makes $1 billion. It's in theaters for 4 months. After that, they would announce it. And then you would have to have scripts. And James Gunn said he wouldn't greenlight a movie until he writes a script. And I don't think he's writing a sequel script now because that doesn't make sense.
Ye
So
Yeah,
I don't think he's doing that now. So it would
yeah.
writing the script, having it how long, so February to the end of July. That was 5 months. Around 5 to 6 months of filming and about 10 months of post production. That's about 15 months. So that, let's say November 2025, 15 months would be about a year. That would be 2026. And then a couple more months, it would be sometime in January of 2027. I mean, maybe it could happen, but even then, like, I think it would be pushing it, and I think it would be, I think it would be a little bit too much to ask for because we don't know how long that James Gunn had been writing the script, especially when you had the strikes. So there was
Mhm.
that implementation as well. So he did announce it in January, and the strikes happened in October. And he said he was like
So it
95%
derailed
done
them because
with the
his script was
script.
pretty. Yeah, yeah.
So it's it's possible. It's not, I'm not gonna say it's impossible. It's definitely possible, but it's improbable that we would get a 50th anniversary Superman film. And I don't think James Gunn would want to do that just for the sake
It's
of
the
a 50th
anniversary.
anniversary movie, because that's
Yeah,
not the vibe I get from James Gunn. He would
yeah.
be like, I think he would probably make an announcement. He'll probably do something for the
Mhm.
50th anniversary. Maybe if they can't get a movie out on time, they'll re-release like Superman, Man of Steel, and like Superman 2025. All it like they'll re it'll be like a big like trilogy of every like
Right, yeah.
first movie in every like continuity kind of thing. And since Brandon Routh counts as like the Christopher Reeve one, it doesn't really count its own thing. So Superman, Man of Steel, I could see that happening if they don't get a movie out on time. I could see them re-releasing those three movies in theaters. That would be a really good idea. Even if they don't do that, I would say, hey, James Gunn, do that because I think that would be awesome. So you have like three distinct visions of this character. And the vibe I get from James Gunn is that he wouldn't just do a movie. He wouldn't just greenlight a movie for an anniversary because, as he has said time and time again, he has doubled down on this. He fucking doesn't shut the fuck up about, I am not greenlighting a movie until I have a goddamn script. So we'll see. Not necessarily. It's just the beginning. It's just the end of like the first chapter or something. So I don't know how long they eventually plan to go, but
No, I think you're right. Look, it's not gonna be that they're gonna try to put something out just to meet the anniversary date.
yeah,
I'm just
it's
saying it's
possible, but
possible
improbable.
that it lines up. It's definitely possible. The Watcher saying Jeff Snyder reportedly had said the Pattinson met with Gunn and said, "I want to be your Batman," further putting pressure on Reeves to
Trust
merge
me,
the
bro.
universes together. I don't know.
Trust
I
me.
mean, look, Jeff Snyder does get a lot of things right, but I would that's a significant development. I would wait to see how that works. But Casey also making a good point that 2035 is DC's 100th anniversary, and so it's the year that James Gunn's current plan also happens to end. His contract, I believe, also comes due before then. So, I mean, if he's around by then, he's gonna probably be around for a while. But 2035 is like what, 11 years, 10 years away, like 10 plus years away. So let's not worry about that just yet. Lenny had a
Yeah,
question about the DC Fan First, and if I haven't signed up for it yet, Lenny.
I
I
don't
will
even know
look
what
into.
that
I did
is.
hear about it. I will look into it a little bit more. I just have, unfortunately, I haven't had enough time the last few days to, especially today. Hence why John started the show without me. So, but I did want to continue on the conversation. Now let's kind of look ahead, right? Because we talked about it. The trailer's coming out in literally what, 2.5 days now. It's coming out on Thursday. A lot of expectations on this trailer now. We know that there's a teaser trailer it's going to release. Probably it's going to be a situation where like a lot of trailers that nowadays, if they don't release in a big event, because I don't think there's a big like college football or NFL thing going on Thursday, other than Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime. So what I would imagine is that this trailer drops like 9 a.m. in the morning, like the poster did today, 9 a.m. Eastern, and it's going to be on the internet. You'll be able to go watch it on YouTube. And it would have been literally probably like what 6 hours since Creature Commandos would have aired its latest episode.
Hmm.
So it does lead me to wonder, like, I mean, they could have made a bit different decision in not putting it out the same day so that the Creature Commandos doesn't get completely overshadowed a few hours after it gets put out. But nonetheless, I mean, it's James Gunn. I'm sure he will find a way to give both projects enough attention. And who knows, maybe this Creature Commandos episode somehow lines up with the Superman trailer in terms of like what we see in the episode maybe ties into the trailer somehow. So I'm excited. But John, do you have any expectations for this? Like, what do you want to see in this trailer? What do you think we will see in this trailer? Or maybe more importantly, what do you think we won't see in this trailer?
I don't think we're going to see any other heroes except Superman because I think they want to focus on
Yeah,
Superman like this. As James Gunn said, this is a Superman movie. It's the three most focused characters are Superman, Lois Lane, and Lex Luthor. The villain, this love interest, and the man himself. So I
yeah.
don't think we're going to be getting like any other heroes. Yeah, okay, I've laughed at a lot of people. Like Coparter, my guy. Um, so I think they're gonna focus solely on those three for the teaser trailer. We're maybe like gonna get like a bit of an action scene, some turning heads, not a lot of VFX shots, you know, maybe just the scenes we saw in Cleveland, like him saving the girl from the oxygen tank truck, whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Then like maybe a little bit of engineer stuff, maybe a little bit of Frank Grillo, maybe a little bit of Superman being Superman. Maybe we'll get like a shot of Fortress of Solitude. I don't think we're gonna be I think it's just gonna focus on Superman and maybe Lois Lane and Lex Luthor because I feel like
I
that
mean, those are
to
the three main characters.
double down on what James Gunn was saying,
Mhm.
it's about the three of them. So I feel like the teaser, where it's like we're getting a little bit as a tease, it's just going to be about those three, and we're not going to be getting all these other heroes and shit like that. So I
Yeah.
think that's so don't trust. I rarely trust Jeff Snyder, mainly because his last name is Snyder. Mm.
I mean, you do realize he spelled his name differently,
It's
right?
differently
SNEIDER.
Sneider. It's
Yeah,
different.
not even this, I don't think they're related.
They are not
So
related.
I mean, for me, okay, look, this is the thing. I've been sort of like talking about this in my head with myself for the long. By the way, guys, if you're watching, we see like about twice as many of you are watching than the ones who have hit the like button. So please, if you haven't already hit the like button, hit that like button because we just really would appreciate the help in getting this content out
Yeah.
in front of more eyes,
So stop
growing
being a
the
bitch.
community.
Fucking like us. You fucking assholes. Jesus Christ. Is that too much to ask? You can like unlike it later. It's fine. Just like it now and then
Yeah,
like
just
unlike it later. Like stop being, a little bitch. A little fucking bitch about it. Just
okay.
kidding.
But I've been having this dialogue in my head, right? Like I'm like, is this gonna be one of those trailers where we hear the music and we just see a montage of slow-mo sequences and then a couple of beauty shots of Superman and maybe one line of
I would
dialogue?
say we should
That
go back
it?
to the teaser trailers for the Guardians movies, and that should give us the vibe because James Gunn said he worked on those trailers as well. Like he edited those like himself. So I think we should like go back to those, and that's like the vibe we should suspect um uh of what we would be getting, you know?
Thanks, Elite. Like we do appreciate it. No, but you're right. I think it was like it will probably be just enough to give us a sense of what this movie is going to be like, but it's not going to give away any plot details. And that's what
Yeah.
a teaser trailer is meant to do. I mean, just the fact that we get a poster today is I'm sure there's a lot of people that jizz their pants just because they're like, oh my god, the colors, I'm gonna go, find some shrooms or whatever, just get high and just look at this poster all day. Not to mention the music. Like
Hmm.
I listen to it just the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, okay, that moment I'm getting the Hans Zimmer,
Mhm.
and here I'm getting the John Williams, and now this feels original. It builds on what has come before. And again, it's kind of ties into the original title for the movie, it's Superman Legacy. So, like you said, I think the trailer will focus on like Lois and then Clark and then Lex. I would be surprised if we got maybe a look at, the Terrifics maybe, or any of the other, meta-humans that are in the movie. I certainly hope to see a little bit of fighting, maybe a couple of shots. Maybe like if they were fighting that big alien monster in the first act of the movie, because I imagine if it's a third act thing, they're not gonna give that away. So, yeah. But, I mean, hey, the Watcher's heading out early. He can't wait for the trailer. Thanks for stopping by, Watcher, and, we do appreciate you. We'll see you on the show tomorrow, but yeah. So, like you said, I don't think we're gonna get anything more than just that. And quite frankly, like you said, like earlier, 90 seconds sounds about right. I wouldn't be surprised though if it goes closer to 2 minutes, because recently we have gotten teaser trailers that are like 2.5 minutes. But James Gunn is probably the kind of person who kind of leans more on, it's like the do less with more. So I feel like
Yeah,
that's
I mean, to
something.
be fair, the newest trailer for 28 Years Later, and that showed us like nothing. And
Mhm.
that was like one of the best teaser trailers I've ever seen ever because it showed us nothing. Yet that shit was like 2 minutes, over two
The voice
minutes.
is so insane. Yes, I mean, because this movie's probably gonna be, like, 2 plus hours long, so they can't really give a ton away, you know? What I
Yeah.
do hope is that we don't get any shots in the trailers that we don't get in the movie. I'm kinda tired
Mhm.
of that. I know Marvel does that a lot, and I know DC doesn't necessarily do it a lot, but I certainly hope that, we don't get that. That I would appreciate. I mean, and I don't think James Gunn would do that either, because he's personally overseeing this trailer, so he knows exactly what shot is gonna be in the movie, what's not. I mean, chances are it's always possible that if you are editing a movie and something gets ends up getting cut after the trailer came out, and it happened to be in the first trailer, it's only part of the process, the creative process, but I don't think James Gunn would purposefully include something here that's not meant to be in the actual movie. So I do hope that that doesn't happen, but I trust James Gunn with that. Now, before we finish up the show today, we have a couple of things more to get into. One of them is there's been reports out there that now Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the movie that comes after Superman in 2026,
Yes,
and
sir.
Lantern, the TV show that also releases later on the same year in 2026, they're both set to start filming soon. And I think the date that I saw was like February 10th. It was in one of the production journals in Hollywood, like where you can kind of find
Yeah, yeah.
a
I
lot
think
of it.
Lantern said February 10th
So
or something like that. Yeah.
So it looks like they're both set to go into production in the first quarter of next year. Of course, we also know that Clayface is gonna be going into production. I mean, they need a director first and an actor, so I don't think that's going into production right at the start of the year. But I mean, look,
Right.
all of these other shows, they have stacked casts and they've done their work. They've got the writers' rooms. They've got their director. Are you excited to see these projects go into production? I mean, do you think we're gonna start getting some of those behind the scenes photos? I mean, December is flying by. Before you know it, it's gonna be February.
Un I think it's unlikely for Supergirl because I feel like that entire movie is gonna take place in space, and that's gonna be mainly green screens. Because I mean, I know, like, James Gunn and his visions for all of this is, like, pretty hardcore. I don't think he wants to actually film in space. He's not Tom Cruise, you know? So I think that's all gonna be on green and blue screens. Um, don't know who that is, but I trust you, Lenny.
I'm not very
So,
familiar either, but we will look it up, Lenny, and we'll get back to you. I think we're probably overdue another Wonder Woman casting, so we'll
um
bring in all these.
But
So,
yeah,
yeah.
I think we'll be getting lantern stuff behind the scenes because that's taking place in like mainly on Earth. So we're probably going to be getting more lantern stuff than Supergirl stuff. Because I mean, we did get a little bit of Peacemaker stuff, but it's just like I feel like Supergirl. There might be like some small shots here and there, like maybe the very beginning or the very end of the movie. Again, I haven't read the comic book just yet. The very beginning or the very end of the movie might take place on Earth, maybe both. But I don't think we're going to be getting. I don't think we're going to be getting a lot of stuff like we did for Superman for like a month and a half. We got like tons of Superman stuff. So we got that, but I think, Lanterns makes more sense. There's more to film. There's more it's more on Earth stuff, so I think we're going to be like getting like, you know, Hal and John investigating and stuff. I don't know why they included Nathan Fillion. He's not going to I don't think he's going to appear in the show, but
I know
you
because
know.
his dead body will appear at the beginning of the show. That's probably what sets off the events of the show. I'm still gonna be on sitting on that theory until it's proven wrong, so I'm just saying. But you know what? I did look up Matilda De Angelis. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Lenny. So this is your pick for Wonder Woman. I mean, what show is this? Citadel. I haven't seen the Citadel
And Citadel Diana, so that makes sense.
Diana, right? It's the spinoff. I mean, she looks like she could probably do it. She's got the physicality to do a show like Citadel. Then I'm sure she can probably pull it off. I haven't seen her act
What's
much.
with that
I
fucking
don't.
haircut though? God damn.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I'm sure it's something to do with the show, but I mean, hey, it looks like she's already done quite a bit of work, and she's a name that people wouldn't be like, "Oh my god, that's Angelina Jolie in the movie," and not the character. So she's
Mhm.
just starting out. So I think having somebody like her, because I think Gal Gadot was very recognizable. People were like, "Oh, that's Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman." Whereas you bring in somebody like here Matilda, like she can probably just blend into the role and fit into it naturally, and people won't be like distracted by the fact that she's a star. But yeah,
I'm
I
a
mean, look,
star. Anyway.
we'll take that into account, Lenny, and I'm sure James Gunn has, looked at that as well. If they're already casting for the role, which I don't think they are, but of course, even if there were, it's not like he's going on the internet and being like, "Who can I find? Oh, I saw her in that show." It's like he saw Rebel Ridge, but that's not the reason why he cast Aaron Pierre. Aaron Pierre, auditioned for the role, and that's why he cast him
Yeah, I
because
think
he
wasn't it
really.
like David Cornsweet and Aaron Pierre like auditioned for Adam Warlock or whatever?
Yeah, so I mean, it's like he was familiar with them, but again, you have to go through the process. You don't just get a free pass in the world of James Gunn's DC, at least. Um,
And there's
and
another universe out there where David Cornsweet was used instead, and we would be getting Will Poulter for Superman. So that's interesting.
yeah, um, yeah, chemistry test, right? That's what they did. But you know what? To end the show, John. I mean, by the way, I am excited to see both of those projects go into production, and we'll see what comes of it. I'm sure it's going to be exciting. We're going to be covering it. Any kind of behind the scenes looks we get, we're going to probably dive way too deep as we did with the Superman ones.
Hmm.
But it's been another great fun show so far. I mean, did we miss anything? I mean, is there anything else that you guys saw in the poster that we missed? Was there a hidden face or some sort of like Easter egg that we didn't catch? Do let us know because we'd love to hear about it. um but I mean, dude, I just loved it. It really made my day. But what I will say, I was in a room with a bunch of other people, and as soon as I played the music, they were like, "That's the new Superman." Like, generally, it was negative for whatever reason, the room that I was in. They were like, one of the guys was like, "Oh, I love the original like, the John Williams one because it's so iconic." So I think for the average Joe, like the public out there, like the average movie going audience, not like the super fans, it may take a little bit of getting used to because the original score is so iconic. It's like if they tried to do a different score for the new Harry Potter TV show, it's the same reason why they didn't do a different, theme intro for at least the music for the Game of Thrones House of the Dragon. It's the Game of Thrones music. It's when it's so iconic, it's a lot of pressure to try to revamp it. It's like for Avengers Doomsday, if they changed up the Avengers, intro music, like how does it play? It's just the whole ensemble of it. Like if they changed it, people would be like, "Huh, what are you doing?" So to do that for something like Superman over the years, like Hans Zimmer did it where he was like, "I'm gonna go in a completely different direction." So I do wonder if you're gonna get more of that sound, music from the movie itself in the trailer. I personally would love that because whereas I think having popular songs in the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer was good, I think in the case of Superman, you want to hear more of. It's like when the Man of Steel teaser trailer came out. I still think the Man of Steel trailers are some of the best trailers DC has ever done because they did such a good job of describing who Clark as a character was
Hmm.
growing up. And like, I mean, for that movie, I'm like, forget the fact that you liked or did not like the movie. For what the movie was, those trailers were great. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But I had something funny that I came across on the last show was it Thursday or Friday when we did it? The last live show that we did, and Magical Sky Wizard at the end. I don't know what I think I made a flub. Instead of saying take a ride on the wild side, I was like, why don't you take a wild on the right side? I love that song, and yeah, well, Magical Sky Wizard poking fun at my incomplete use of the English language. So, Magical Sky Wizard, you do love the song "Take a Wild on the Right Side." So what I decided was, let's see if I can plug that into an AI
Isn't it
music.
take a walk on the wild side? Isn't
It's it's whatever it is. It's not what I said, and so I decided that I'm gonna like actually turn it into a song. So I just went online and found some kind of AI to generate a song for us. so so if you want Magical Sky Wizard, you can now indeed take a wild on the right side.
Roll the dice and hit the gasket on the right side. Rules are just for those who fear the thrill that we confide. Life's a game with no replay. Take a leap and glide through the
All
chaos.
right, that's enough. It's just I was just impressed by how good the AI was. So if you guys want, we will definitely throw that out in a members
you're gonna
section
get a
on
lot
the
of hate in the comments now because you used
yeah,
AI.
AI. Oh, it was a joke. So it actually generated two different versions. There was a pop version and a rock version of the song. So yeah, maybe something Superman can jam out to. Maybe I'll look up like a Metallica version of this or something. But yeah, it's gonna be fun, guys. It's gonna be fun to see what this trailer looks like. Let us know in the comments below what you think you're gonna get in that trailer on Thursday. Of course, there's a couple of days to go before Thursday, so as I promised earlier today on the channel, we've got lots to come before we get to that point. We're gonna be getting into the Clayface, what's going on with that. We have to talk about the Batman 2, and it's like to me, like when you look at how Matt Reeves is producing Clayface, he's trying to expand the Batman cinematic universe, the Becks. Like, does the man actually have any time to do the Batman 2? I'm like, we have to talk about that. And so we're going to talk about that later this week. And last week, we didn't really get to dive into some of the details that have come out about Clayface, like, the budget, when they're going to be filming it, what the premise is like, the fact that it is part of the DCU, because James Gunn did confirm that. So we have to get into that. And I'm sure you'll have fan theories to get into. And of course, it's a busy week because on Thursday, we have to do Future Commandos episode 4 review, and we will probably way over analyze the heck out of the Superman teaser trailer. And then, of course, on Friday, we're bringing Fancast Fridays back. So we're gonna fancast Bane in the DCU, and then see maybe where Dave Bautista fits in the picture, because John, as James Gunn said, he's a little too slimmed and out now to play the kind of Bane that a lot of people want him to be. But maybe there's another character. Maybe there's another set of characters that Batista could fit. So we've got a few picks for that. Um, Ron saying, "Listen to Finnish Symphony by that is perfect score for Superman when he's flying." That's a good suggestion. You know what? I'm gonna copy and paste that over and see if I can take a listen to that later. But I mean, as far as this movie goes, we know John Murphy did the score. We know that he's been working on it. A lot of the key pieces are already done. There's probably still a few things left to do in terms of like actually scoring the movie, which they can only do once they have picture lock. So picture lock meaning all the editing is done. Like they're not going to change the edit at all. So we'll see like when that happens. I did see that Warner Brothers Games Montreal laid off a bunch of people, and I think that's because they're probably they're not making a sequel to that Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. So, or was it that, or was it Gotham Knights? They made one of those two games which didn't really do all that well. So um, Hugo Strange could be a good fit, by the way. Elite Easy, or Ra's al Ghul, dude. Can you imagine a Ra's al Ghul that Batista plays? I think he can be just creepy enough, and he can also fit that whole Eastern look and vibe. I think it could work. He's like Filipino, right? So I think that could work. That could work. I can see that. But yeah, I mean, hey, Superman the movie. the poster.
I'm adding them to the list. We'll talk about it.
To the list because that was not in his list. So thanks for giving us more ideas.
Because
hey.
I do have a Batman because well, a little bit of a spoiler alert, and we'll get into it more on Friday. It's mainly Dave Bautista casting, and it's a, as Dan called it, a reverse fan casting where we're going to be. I was like, okay, I got a bunch of movies that are greenlit, and I'm like, okay, let's take him and put him into a bunch of different movies and see how he would fit. And I have a bunch of them, and I think that depending on which one, there's a whole different role. So I have now multiple Batman Brave and the Bold ones. So
yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look, we'll see what those look like, and it's gonna be a busy week. We got lots of news, a lot of breaking news. We've got lots to cover that we missed over the weekend because, of course, the news didn't stop breaking, and we were like, can we not have 2 days to ourselves? Like, but anyway, great show. Thanks for getting up and running before I got here, John. Of course, we know that you guys have been waiting all day, and so thank you for stopping in. And as always, hit that like button if you haven't already. We are going to continue to be on Bulge alert. They smudged the Bulge, but maybe we'll get it in its full fledgling form when we get the trailer on Thursday. But until then, hit the subscribe button. Tickle the notification bell. And John, thank you so much for, as always, being on the show. And thank you to everybody in the chat for being in here and chatting.
Lenny's like, Dan, call me. Whoa, hello.
Call you? Give me your digits. I'll call you. Like, it's, like nowadays it's doesn't cost all that much. So, it's like, I have to make a call across the pond. I can just go on Zoom or something, right? Like I don't need one of those.
Gotta get WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. That's it. There you go. That we can do WhatsApp. Yeah, Lenny. Like just hit me up. But anyway, I'm sure Fiona will wanna chime in with you too. But until the next show, until tomorrow, we'll have Liz back on tomorrow, and we're gonna have to talk about Craven the Hunter. Yeesh. Okay. Well, on that note, we're gonna
greatest movie of the year. It's the movie of the year, guys.
So good. Oh my god, it's so good. All right, we're gonna talk to you about it tomorrow, and of course, lots of news from the world of DC. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you on the next episode of DCU Daily.